everyone, and thank you for joining us here on Weather Out West, the hour-long show where we showcase what's happening weather-wise across the United States. I'm meteorologist Adam Claybon, and we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it with our forecast in Seattle, as there's a weak atmospheric river that's going to be arriving as we head into the latter part of the weekend, and we'll have some increasing rain chances as we go throughout the day on Saturday. It looks like some heavier pockets could be around too, and what that will mean, unfortunately, after all the snow that we've gotten here throughout the week, possibly some higher snow levels, and that could mean some melting as we head on into the weekend as well of that fresh snow. Meteorologist Rich Marriott has your forecast.
Well, we made it to Friday, and it's been quite a week. I'm King 5 meteorologist Rich Marriott, and boy, tons of snow up in the mountains. We kind of wrapped that up with another day with decent accumulations in the last 24 hours, a lot less than we saw earlier in the week, but this is just kind of topping it off and refreshing the snowpack, the snow surface. You can see you only got an inch there at Mount Baker and White Pass in the last 24 hours, ending at 5 a.m. Friday, and then a half foot there at Stevens, 5 inches for Snoqualmie Pass, 3 inches for Crystal Mountain. Now, if we total it up for the areas for the entire week, and this is from the automated telemetry of the Northwest Avalanche Center, so give or take a few inches, 34 inches there at Baker, 33 at Stevens Pass. We had close to 2 feet there with 21 inches at Snoqualmie, 22 at Crystal, 23 inches there at White Pass. So definitely a big plus for the snowpack, and it all fell at fairly low snow levels, so fairly low density snow for the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to be staying cool up there today into tomorrow, so that is going to help keep that snow in good condition, and actually probably still a little bit of untracked powder up there if you search for it, I suspect, at this point. Take a look at the Doppler radar this morning. Not really showing much going on up and down Puget Sound. We had some showers earlier. They dried out. If we get a little bit closer and zoom in a little bit on the Central Sound, still not seeing anything, but you'll see as we go through the tower cams, we have a little bit of drizzle or mist coming down right in the Central Sound at the moment. Not there at Port Angeles. We actually have seen a couple of sun breaks in Port Angeles, and there in Bellingham, seeing some brightening of the clouds, so that's all very encouraging. And there in Everett, not much brightening going on. Checking the shot there from our rooftop camera, you see a hint of a little bit of mist in the air, and definitely there at the airport at SeaTac, there were actually a few drops on the lens a short time ago, but looks like that's trying to wrap up right now, which would be just fine. And then we should see some sun coming out just about everywhere as we head towards this afternoon. In fact, there it is already trying to break out in Tacoma. Checking our 7-day forecast, you can see the dryness doesn't last very long. Rain moves back in again by tomorrow afternoon. We have a weak atmospheric river that moves in for Sunday and Monday. That moves on, and we dry out as we head towards the middle part of the weekend. Definitely warming with those rising snow levels. If we take a look at the satellite image, we do have a weak to moderate atmospheric river just off the coast. You can see it has that connection down into the subtropics, but nothing like what we saw back in December. This is going to be moving in and kind of sitting over us for Sunday and Monday, and then that's going to be moving on. But just to refresh your memory, taking a look back right at the start of that flooding situation on December the 8th, this huge atmospheric river, which you can see just solidly stretched all the way from the Pacific Northwest, almost all the way back to the Philippines. So huge river kind of aimed at us. The one that's going to be moving through the next couple of days shouldn't really cause any significant flooding. We might see flood stage for the Skokomish River, but it looks like the other rivers will stay within their banks, so we're not worried about any significant flooding. We check the computer model. We see the atmospheric river kind of drops down onto us as we head towards Saturday, and it kind of sits with us. You can see it kind of ripples through as little disturbances move up the river and into us all the way through Monday, and then as we head towards later Monday into Tuesday, that lifts north of us, and that's where we'll see it turn to showers and finally dry out as we head into midweek. This big ridge of high pressure building along the west coast. Take a look at our precipitation. You can see from now on through tomorrow afternoon, see a little bit out towards the coast and some up in the mountains, but nothing in the lowlands. That moves in on Saturday afternoon on through Sunday. Respectable amounts, but not really excessive. If we go on through the weekend all the way through Tuesday morning, when precipitation essentially stops, see not much motion there between then and Wednesday morning, so not a whole lot out of the showers Tuesday, but we got anywhere from about 1 to maybe 3 inches of rain. but that's spread out over several days. So the wettest spots you can see down there around Shelton, which is near the Skokomish River. So the southeast Olympics is expecting probably the greatest amount of rainfall out of that. Checking up there in the mountains, beautiful shot there at Paradise, Mount Rainier. They had over 3 feet of snow at Paradise this week, and that is definitely a lot of untracked, though a difficult trip right now. You can see there, that's the live shot up at Alpental. The lifts are running, skiers are showing up, getting ready to head up and track up that snow, which is pretty exciting right now. We take a look at those snow levels, though, they're a little discouraging as we go into the weekend. You can see they actually rise up to about 4,500, 5,000 feet over the weekend. Actually, the free air snow levels will be considerably higher than that. But what's going to be going on is, if we take a look at our temperatures across the state for today, here on the west side, we're going to be into the upper 40s and near 50 degrees, but east of the Cascades, only in the 30s. As we head towards later tomorrow into Sunday, we're going to develop east winds blowing across through the passes and over the Cascade Crest. It's going to bring that cold air out of eastern Washington and refrigerate the lower atmosphere, so those snowflakes will be falling through the freezing layer, through the freezing level, which could be up around 7,000 feet. They'll only fall a short distance before they fall into that cooler air, which will keep the snowflakes from melting before they get to the ground. So they'll probably arrive not as really light snow, but as maybe snow pellets, etc. And that probably will start taking place later Saturday into Sunday, but it should keep the skiing conditions really good on through the weekend. So checking that 7-day forecast, we're going to be looking for a little bit of sun this afternoon, and then tomorrow will start dry but increasing rain in the afternoon. Rain at times Sunday and Monday, mild low to mid 60s. Tuesday the showers will end, and then looking for morning fog and afternoon sun for Wednesday and Thursday, and that pattern probably will last all the way through the following weekend.
All right, milder days there in Seattle. And now we're going to go all the way down the coast to San Diego. And it's down this way where we have those Santa Ana winds are beginning to pick up. And so for that, a weather impact alert day for inland areas starting up today, Friday, all the way through Sunday, due in part because of those strong winds that are going to develop. This may lead to an elevated fire risk for the area down there. Those wind advisories will be in effect from Sunday or through Sunday. And for those inland areas and into the mountains, we expect some of the strongest winds to be around, but probably the peak winds will be Friday night into Saturday. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz has the latest.
Happy Friday from San Diego, California. I'm CBS 8 meteorologist Vanessa Paz. We have changes on the way as we inch towards the weekend and wrap up the work week. We're looking at high winds. In fact, a wind advisory set to expire yesterday was actually extended now, ending Sunday afternoon for the inland and mountain desert areas, and we'll detail that in a moment. But happening today, mostly sunny skies. So we've been kind of under this pattern of wet, cloudy conditions, cool temperatures, and we're going to phase out of that, all due to the shift in winds, also known as Santa Anas, coming out of the east, and that's going to dry things up and warm up our temperatures for a good amount of time. Looking ahead to next week, we are going to face warmer conditions. In fact, daytime highs will trend anywhere between 10 to about 15 degrees warmer than average. So let's go ahead and focus on today's highs. Notice how we have a lot of those sunny icons there, nothing but sunshine, cloudless skies, especially for those areas away from the coast. I'm forecasting mid to high 60s for the coast and inland valleys. That's close to average, but it's a different story when we talk about next week. In fact, daytime highs are going to soar well into the high 70s, and we'll take a look at that 7-day in a moment. High 40s in the mountain areas, and I'm forecasting low 60s for our desert communities. All right, here's that wind advisory. It was set to expire yesterday, now extended all the way through Sunday afternoon. The reason for that is we are tracking winds out of the northeast. Sustained winds 15 to 30 miles per hour could gust anywhere between 40 to 60 miles per hour at times. These are damaging winds. Some of the strongest winds will be impacting those areas east of the 15 freeway near the foothills and mountain areas, peaking out all the way through Saturday afternoon. And then by Sunday, those winds will simmer down a bit. So here's what we're expecting. Again, those northeast winds, remember, they descend down the mountains, and when they do so, they speed up. That's why they get so fast, anywhere between that 30 up to 60 mile per hour range. Not only do they speed, but they also warm the surrounding air parcels, which is why we get those very warm temperatures, and they also dry things out. So that's why fire danger, typically a concern, but because we had, again, record-breaking rainfall, we are looking in pretty good shape when it comes to our vegetation not being as dry. Rain chances slim slim to none. So we are going to stay bone dry all the way through next week. As we take a look at the water year, we have been impressive to say the least since the start of it, October 1st. On average, we should only see about 3.5, and we're nearing 8 inches so far since the start of October 1st. Last year, we only gained about 1/10 of an inch or so. So we're doing an incredible job when it comes to our water year numbers. Here's a quick look at highs for tomorrow. We'll be in the low 70s, and those numbers are only going to climb from here. As we take a look at our 7-day forecast along the coast, notice how the temperatures start to rise, noticeable warming by the time we get to Sunday. And then we stay in this range of the mid 70s. So the coastal areas are going to have fantastic weather. The inland valleys, remember, the winds are going to be a threat all the way through about Sunday afternoon, and then they start to simmer down. We are going to top out close to 80 degrees all the way through next week. So it is going to be very warm, unusually warm, because after all, we're still in winter and we're in January, some of the coolest and wettest months of the year. The mountains and desert areas, despite nice days, we're looking ahead to brisk nights and again, windy conditions all the way through the weekend.
We were talking about the elevated fire risk with some of the strong winds down there in Southern California, and Wednesday actually marked the 1-year anniversary since the start of the deadly wildfires that ravaged Southern California. Fast-moving twin fires erupted at opposite ends of Los Angeles County, destroying more than 16,000 structures, many of them homes. Combined, the Eaton and Palisades fires killed at least 31 people. Jasmine Ville checked in on the community and spoke with one of the survivors.
This is still my home. This is still my address. This is what I worked so hard.
With tears streaming down her face, Jill Jensen clutches a small tile plaque, numbers that once marked her address on Las Flores Drive in Altadena.
So many people suffer. We do not have a house. We do not have our neighborhood. We do not have our community anymore.
It's all that remains of her house that burned to the ground in the Eaton fire.
And my husband said, Jill, get up. We have to go. The house in the back is engulfed in flames.
A home that was full of music and love, but Jill was ultimately forced to sell the lot in order to afford starting over. 1 year later, the trauma hasn't faded.
The nightmares persisted.
Jill joined other fire survivors and elected leaders in Altadena Wednesday as they talked about the recovery efforts and the need for more accountability.
Whether a family is able to get back home or is displaced permanently comes down to one thing: money.
Joy Chen with the Eaton Fire Survivors Network says with 7 in 10 Eaton and Palisades families still displaced 1 year later, they are working hard to move the money to the survivors who deserve it.
Just the first year since the fire, our community unlocked over $100 million in delayed insurance payments, and more is coming. There are 3 sources that each owe survivors tens of billions of dollars: Edison, insurance companies, and the federal government.
If they can spend money on bombs and all of this horrible stuff that they are doing to other countries, other peoples that are suffering worse than this, why can't they help these people here?
LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger says this survivor-led coalition has helped to shed light on what went wrong before, during, and after the Eaton fire.
I welcome investigations across the board. I have promised these survivors that we're going to get answers, and we will get answers.
As the attention remains on Southern California Edison, the utility said since opening a compensation program tied to the Eaton fire, more than 1,800 customers have applied. The company has made 82 settlement offers totaling more than $34 million, and 31 claims have been paid so far.
Let's be clear. Edison must pay everything that they are liable for.
Jill knows she's among the fortunate ones to have a roof over her head, while for so many the rebuilding hasn't even begun.
What about the people that don't have any insurance or underinsured? I am a lucky one, but I still hurt.
When we get back, we're going to check in on your forecast for both Portland and Denver and see how the weekend is shaping up for those areas. Keep it right here. Welcome back, everyone. So pretty exciting to have some active weather in the Denver metro area. And when we're talking about active weather during this time of the year, most of the time we're talking about snow. And there is a weather impact alert day for Friday for more of the morning hours, but also because there's several inches of snow that has fallen, and there could be some icy roads to go along with that. There will be some clearing skies, though, as we head on into the latter part of the day, and it looks like on into the weekend as well, where maybe more so into next week, we're talking about quiet weather overall. Meteorologists Kathy Saban as well as Katie LaSalle have your forecast.
Hello from Denver, Colorado, where we have been enjoying a colder weather change and some beneficial snow. So far for the season, only 7.3 inches of snow. By the end of January, we should be closer to 27 inches, and by the end of the season, 56. So we've had a snow drought, critical fire weather, and record high temperatures, but not yesterday and not today. One storm crossing Colorado heading northeast out onto the plains brought some light snow. A second system coming in today from the south will bring another round of moderate mountain snow and a few inches to Denver and heavy snow to the southern foothills, areas like the Palmer Divide, Monument Hill. That I-25 drive down to the New Mexico border is going to be a little tough early today. We missed out on the bulk of the cold air sliding over northern Colorado, moving once again into the Midwest and then into the Northeast. But the snow has been great. Today, the bullseye for the heaviest snowfall has actually been southeastern Colorado. Denver saw the snow start to fly around 10:30, 11 o'clock last night, continuing through the morning drive. And then as the day wears on, we see drier air working in from north to south and some of those heavier snow bands pushing south. But southeastern Colorado could see anywhere from 4 to 8, even 10 inches of snow. And this is an area of our state that has suffered through an extreme drought. So we have snow for the morning drive. We have clearing by midday, but the cold air stays in place. So we will have some icy roadways, and the winter weather and travel advisories will continue out for a little while longer. We'll get some sunshine, but it won't be a warm day today as temperatures hold in the lower 30s. But after this morning's drive, the weather impact alert is canceled. We're back to sunshine and 40s for Saturday and Sunday, back to sunshine and 50s into the first half of next week.
Finally, some winter weather making a comeback here to Colorado, the Denver metro area, and a big portion of the state. Some much needed snowfall fell late Thursday into early Friday. Just a picture perfect view up over Long's Peak this morning. We absolutely needed this for our snowpack, and we are going to continue to see snow for portions of the high country and especially southern Colorado as this winter storm rolls out of the state. Places, though, further to the north, this is Fort Collins, we aren't going to be seeing much in the way of accumulation. So breaking down some of the snow totals that we have seen with this storm, upwards of a foot in Steamboat Springs. Aspen snowmass coming in at least 10 more set to accumulate at times for this afternoon. Beaver Creek at 8, 6 for Vail. Crested Butte a little less, only at 2 inches, but still any bit of snowfall, especially for our ski areas, is very, very welcome. The roads here across the metro area were definitely slick, slushy, snow covered, depending on where you're driving. And Boulder upwards of 4.5 inches, around 2 to 4 for much of the Denver area. It will put a dent in our snow totals that we typically see 27 inches by the end of the month. This will get us up to at least 9. So winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings still posted. So this is a big storm for southern Colorado, from Colorado Springs over the southeastern plains. Heavy snow, gusty winds. This system slowly making its way to the east, and then it'll become more organized over the Great Lakes region. Then across the west coast, our next ridge of high pressure builds in. So we are accepting and embracing and celebrating any little bit of precipitation that Colorado can get. Drought conditions have worsened. Snowpack has been not so good, but as we go through the next several days, it is just going to be mild and dry. And you can see from our 7-day forecast, 40s and clearing on Saturday, and then back to the 50s, about 10 degrees above average for most of next week, at least for the Denver area expected.
Okay, heading back up to the Pacific Northwest, we are going to check out the forecast in Portland, where overall Friday looking like it's going to be pretty quiet. And through a lot of the weekend, too, we're expecting to keep conditions dry, although there could be some showers as we go late into Sunday and more so into Sunday night and into the day for next Monday. Meteorologist Rod Hill has your forecast.
How about a dry Friday forecast from the Rose City? I'm meteorologist Rod Hill. That's what we have. And of course, our big headline is still kind of the rejoicing over all of the snow that has finally jump-started our snowpack season up on Mount Hood. This is one of our Timberline live cameras. You can see folks out there skiing and boarding. That is a 48-inch base is what they say they have up at Timberline Lodge. You stick a ruler down through all the snow, or a yardstick, and you'd come up with 48 inches of snow. And the reports are from 5,000 to 6,000 feet, Tuesday to Thursday. It was just over 30 to just over 40 inches of snow. Winds will be light up there today. It's really going to be a delightful day for folks going up to enjoy. Now, we do have snow-packed roadways, travel-wise, over all of the Cascade Passes this morning. But ODOT's been out plowing and plowing, and if you have changed and traction tires with no weather and not much wind, you're probably in good shape. The temperature early this morning is 30 degrees, and we do believe that the passes will all get above freezing today, so that will bring improving conditions for travelers as well. All right, so what's going on with our weather? Well, we're dry today. This storm, it looks like there it is, it's coming in. Well, no, it's not. There's actually a building ridge of high pressure. We're going to see some of these clouds spill in, so our forecast is kind of partly cloudy today. But there's no rain, and I don't think there's any rain even tomorrow here in Oregon, except for maybe the traceable amounts that look to be at least possible in places up around Astoria. Here we are this morning. We've got actually a lot of clear skies opening up out east, and we've had some clearing in parts of the valley this morning as well. Futurecast really shows the sun. Where you see the green map, that's the model going, hey, you don't have any clouds. Could be partly cloudy and not just sunny like this, but we'll see. Here are the thicker clouds, and there's the rain in green holding way out. Now I'm going to play this into Saturday. Here's Saturday afternoon. The modeling weakens that rain, throws some cloudiness, especially into the coastal areas, and a chance of some rain up around Astoria that may or may not happen. And if you look at this carefully, generally speaking, you're seeing all this rain have a tendency to just stay offshore from Oregon and then up to our north and push up into Washington and places like Seattle, where the rain chance looks to be pretty solid at times for the weekend, at least just from this Futurecast model. Now, if we play this into the rest of Sunday, it really does keep most of the rain kind of out around from us. I do believe, if you look at other models, there's a legitimate chance that Portland could get some rain inland at some point the PM hours of Sunday night, ending early Monday morning. Our cameras are showing mid to high level clouds and some thin spots. There's some folks walking on the beach this morning from Lincoln City, Schnuckwinds Casino Resort camera. Here's our state capitol. Cloudy skies up top, and we've had mostly cloudy skies with some breaks so far over downtown Portland. Temperatures should hit the low 50s today at the coast, and that's with a light wind. That's really nice weather. 40s to about 50 for highs today up and down I-5. This is 3 o'clock this afternoon, showing 44 in Bend, and with snow on the ground, 40 in Sun River, and then temperatures only about 40 out on the east side. Here come our 7-day numbers. I have us dry today, 50, dry tomorrow, 51. Increasing the thickening cloud cover on Sunday that may or may not lead to some rain inland Sunday into Monday morning early. Other than that, no storm fronts and all dry on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week as we get back into a good old-fashioned what we call temperature inversion pattern.
Up next, San Diego's chief meteorologist Carlene Chavis shows us how a wooden box in Oceanside is helping fight a plastic pollution problem. After this. Welcome back. So plastic sand toys come in vibrant colors and are a top choice for kids playing at the beach. But when they're forgotten or left behind, the non-biodegradable toys end up polluting our sand and water. San Diego's chief meteorologist Carlene Chavis has that story.
Why bring your own toys to the beach where you can just borrow a toy? This is the first of its kind sandbox like this here in San Diego County. We're in Oceanside where there's a whole team behind this push to keep the plastic waste off of the beach and out of the water.
They are colorful and entertaining for many kids visiting the beach.
Yeah, octopus.
The problem? These toys are often left behind and become embedded in the sand over time, or become marine debris in the ocean. The marine environment weathers the material into microplastics or even smaller nanoplastics as the tide rolls in.
Sea animals are going to ingest them. They're going to infect our health, the health of the ocean, and it might seem like a small thing, but it actually contributes to a big problem.
Janice Jones with the Surfrider Foundation chapter in San Diego noted that this isn't a rare occurrence.
We wanted to find a solution for that problem. It was suggested by many volunteers over time that we install a box like this.
They weren't the only ones who noticed this issue. So did 17-year-old Girl Scout Lauren Silver.
I was walking on the beach one day with my family, and I noticed a lot of sand toys just like laying out. And this was around the same time that I was trying to think of a project for my Gold Award.
A Gold Award is the highest honor in Girl Scouts, which highlights projects that make a sustainable and impactful contribution to one's community.
The ocean has always been a really big part of my life. I grew up in San Diego, and so I really just wanted to find a solution to minimize the amount of plastic that went into the ocean.
Lauren reached out to Surfrider San Diego. She built, designed, and decorated this sand toy borrow box and developed the documents for monitoring it. Janice Jones put her in touch with the Coastal Zone Administrator for the City of Oceanside, Jamie Timberlake, who helped with the approval process through the city.
Just like other things around the city, other infrastructure around the city, we need to take care of our beaches. When we leave things out, they create pollution that circulates in the system and gets taken to other beaches. And so, simple efforts can really make a big difference.
It is located on the Strand, south of the Children's Playground near the Oceanside Pier. Lauren and her family have since moved to Colorado, but the box is in good hands.
I naturally sanitize the toys every couple days, and I usually rinse them daily. So it does not need that much care, I would say, but it's me, and it just makes me feel better when it's nice and presentable.
Dawn Casillas of One Clean Beach proudly monitors this toy box during her daily beach cleanups. She also makes sure there's no trash in the box, which has been minimal as the community rallies behind it.
Tons of thank yous, so much appreciation, and the community just loves it.
Dawn also reloads the box with toys and encourages people to come by and donate beach toys they aren't using anymore. As for the sand toy borrow box, local parents appreciate it.
Knowing that this is here now and just seeing how it's a cool collection space for all the sand toys to go, and then all the kids are using them together and then putting them back, that they have a home is really cool. So the beach is also less littered with sand toys as well.
Sounds like this eco-friendly wooden box isn't just city approved, it's mom approved too. For CBS 8, I'm Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chavis.
All right, so when we get back, we're going to head into the interior parts of the Northwest and check in on your forecast in Spokane and in Boise. Stay with us. All right, welcome back, everyone. We had some snowfall in the Spokane area, and we actually recorded 7 inches of snow on January the 7th. Between 4 to 8 inches coated much of eastern Washington, and on either side of the interstate, that's pretty much what you saw. Now, it does start to get a bit warm heading on into the weekend, and depending on how much of the snow melts, we'll see how much of the runoff we'll see here. We also have some snow and rain chances heading into Sunday. We are going to be keeping an eye out for you, and right now, Nicole Hernandez has your forecast.
I'm Nicole Hernandez in Spokane, Washington, and take a look at this live look over Lake Coeur d'Alene. We are still seeing some snow built up on some of our side roads, on our grasses, of course, from the snow we saw earlier this week. The reason that's important is because it's developing the potential for foggy conditions. So the snow is moving its way out, but when we have patchy fog that's moving its way through already this morning, and we'll see more this weekend as well. We also are going to see cold and slick mornings. Let's start with that. I mean, this morning we've been quite cold. We've been below the freezing point. So 32 here in Spokane, 30 in Coeur d'Alene, 28 out in Deer Park. That's not even our low temperatures for overnight because we've already been warming up for just a little bit here. Again, the reason that's important is because of all the moisture that we have on our roads, right? So it's been warming up enough to start turning some of the snow and ice into slush on our roads. But then by the time we get to overnight, it's not fully gone. And so all of that moisture then refreezes, and we just have this batch and patchy, icy road conditions. So be careful every morning as you're waking up, especially on those side roads where we've seen them not really be able to fully melt off. The other big thing that snow is doing is causing some visibility issues. So basically having the snow on the roads is creating moisture, right? All of the snow that's sitting on all the grasses and everything, that is moisture, and it's making us more humid here close to the ground. That in combination with our temperatures means we're producing fog. We already saw some this morning, but not too badly. Tomorrow, we start to see that fog again. This is 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, an 1/8 of a mile of visibility in Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, and Deer Park. Another big issue with this fog is that we also have freezing temperatures. So you combine fog and freezing temperatures, that makes the potential for freezing fog. That's another reason our roads could be slick and dangerous. Now, this lasts for the morning, but it does start to improve. By about 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, you can see we're up to 1/2 mile in Coeur d'Alene, 1/4 mile visibility in Spokane, and 8-mile visibility in Deer Park. This is patchy fog, but where it is, it's likely going to be dense. So just be careful and cautious of that tomorrow morning if you are heading out. Or personally going up to the mountains, so we will probably have to drive through some of that fog. Today we have scattered showers that are going to move their way mostly through North Idaho. These are very light scattered snow showers, and they will move their way out pretty quickly. By this evening we clear out. We even have the clouds leaving our region as well, but this is by the time the sun is down, so if you see some sun later this afternoon, congrats, but we will stick with some clouds. The clouds do build back in for Saturday. We're mostly cloudy with some, a chance for sun here and there. But the good news about Saturday is we're completely clear. We don't have any of those chances for any showers. That's just for Saturday, though. By the time we get later into Sunday, we start to see another chance for some of those snow showers to make their way into the region. And I say snow, but really I mean snow or rain, because we're starting to warm up as well. Your weekend, we end up at 39 and 40 degrees, so be extra cautious of some of those nice temperatures.
Okay, heading a bit farther to the south and to the east, things are going to be a little more quiet as temperatures stay near normal there in Boise. And we were just talking about fog there around the Spokane area. That could be an issue for areas around Boise as well. Hector Mendoza has your forecast.
Lots of skiers and boarders, especially those ski resorts, had been hoping for some snow, and exactly is what we got here for this week, as we had about 2 feet of snow in some spots. We had a little less in some areas. So again, as we look at Bogus Basin and Brundage, about 20 to 21 inches in some of those ski resorts there, about 30 inches out in Tamarack, a little less, just getting about a foot and a little bit more there through Sun Valley and Pomerelle, but that's exactly what a lot of folks needed here to be able to enjoy some of those ski resorts and have them fully open here for this weekend. We're also going to have some beautiful conditions here for this evening and then heading into the weekend. Now, we also had some rain across many of the valley spots as we look at the Treasure and Magic Valleys. We did have a little bit more there through Boise and Ontario. Baker City didn't really see that much as we got closer. We got less than 1/4 of an inch there in terms of precipitation and got closer to about 1/2 an inch and a little bit more there through Jerome. So a good amount of some of that rain came along there through the Magic Valley. But as we look at our January here in Boise, the only time we hit temperatures below freezing or below average, that is right here on Thursday. And that's exactly how we started the month of December. December 1st, we had those below average temperatures, and then we continued with above average temperatures here through the rest of that month. And that's the trend that we're expecting to see here at least into the next week and a half or so, as we're just going to stay slightly above that average. And this is what helped a lot of that rain, but didn't allow for some of the snow to start to fall here in portions of the valley. So that's what's going to continue here, is going to be those valleys that'll dry out. That'll be the same conditions there for portions of the mountains. We'll see an inversion start to set up here through this weekend. And of course, we're going to stay pretty similar in terms of conditions all the way in through the middle and late next week. And it's all due to this ridge of high pressure right here that's going to allow those conditions to stick around. And we're taking a look there through most of southwest Idaho, even further up north. We do see a chance for some moisture to make it to places there in some of our northern zones in Idaho. But for the most part here in southwest Idaho, not expecting any precipitation, just some of those clouds to really start to pick up here through this weekend. And of course, as we take a look all the way through Thursday, not much, staying pretty dry here across the Treasure Valley. Even looking at some of these mountain spots, we'll see some sunshine here through Saturday and Sunday. A little bit more of that here as we get towards Monday and Tuesday. But of course, those temperatures will definitely continue to stay cold. But because of that inversion, temperatures will start to get into the 40s in the mountains, and we'll stay much colder here through many of those valley spots, especially through the next couple of mornings. Now, as we look at the the Twin Falls area, those low 40s will continue there through Monday, slowly climbing up and back into those upper 40s. And we're going to have a little bit more of that sunshine Wednesday into Thursday. And that's going to be similar here in the Treasure Valley as we look at Boise. Low 40s, upper 20s here is what we're expecting here through Monday. We're also going to see that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, those temperatures will stay between those mid 40s. So again, we're not really seeing much of those changes as that high pressure system will hold steady. And that's what's going to bring us again those drier conditions. A lot more of that sunshine there through Wednesday and Thursday. And we are anticipating much cooler temperatures to stick around into those upper 20s. And then those mid 40s will continue. So we're expecting this to really continue in through the long term. But again, we will also see a chance for some patchy fog that'll come along Saturday, Sunday, and in through Monday. So we'll pay attention to that, especially as we're heading into the beginning of next week.
Well, it's shaping up to be a chilly, a foggy, and a frosty weekend for Sacramento. We're going to check in with Monica Woods and see how the forecast is shaping up there across parts of the valley in California right now.
I'm meteorologist Monica Woods looking at our regional headlines, and a lot of it includes some chilly weather heading our way. Frosty conditions for the coast, cold mornings for the valley and the foothills, staying cool for the Sierra as well. Those morning lows are going to be in the single digits with afternoon highs in the 30s. A look at our drought monitor, the new one coming out for today, and we are seeing something we haven't seen in 25 years. This is how we started off the water year. Lots of us in moderate to severe, even some extreme drought in California, and for the first time in 25 years, no part of the state is covered in any drought category. Again, you have to go back on this time series, 25 years to see something like that. That was back in April of 2000. We stayed there for a couple of months. So even though we're looking at this dry stretch, it's very likely we're going to kind of stay in that category, largely due to the big bulk of precipitation we've seen so far for the water year. Many areas well above average, quite a stark difference from what we saw last year at this time, where there was a distinct line of demarcation, very wet north and dry Southern California. So nice to see some statewide improvement there. Here's a look at the cold weather alerts. This is the next issue that we're going to be moving on to, especially for the coast. Cold weather advisory through the morning hours on Friday, so that those cold conditions starting to subside for the afternoon. Also started off with extremely cold conditions for much of the Monterey Bay area, and a lot of that is agriculture. Much of our, we say, farm basket, our fruit basket is over towards the coast. We get a lot of our fruits and vegetables from that region. Here's a look at the departure from normal. So some very crisp conditions in the wake of a cold front that moved through on Wednesday. We'll see some nice warming for the afternoon, but overall a cooler than average weather pattern, especially for the mornings. We had those northwest winds on our Friday. Those are going to start to back off a little bit as we start to see more cloud cover coming through. Dry stretch, though. We're not expecting much in the way of precipitation here for the next several days. Really need some drying out for much of the state as well. Highs in the 50s for our Friday, or 30s for our Friday forecast, I should say. 50s down low for the foothills. As we make our way southward through the central Sierra, we're looking at mountain highs in the 40s and lower elevations in the 50s for the valley. Taking it over towards the coast, we'll see a little improvement for those overnight lows. Lows will still be in the 30s again for much of the Monterey Bay area. Hollister down to 33, Los Banos at 32, Mendota at 31, even Hanford at 32. Again, these are large agriculture areas, so we got the rain. Now we've got some frosty conditions that we have to protect the plants from. 30s and 40s across the Bay Area. As we head inland, we're looking at morning lows in the 30s with afternoon highs in the 50s. Northwest coast, we're dry. A few clouds coming in for our weekend forecast for our Friday. We're going to keep it in the 50s for the north end of the valley and the capital region with overnight lows in the 30s once again. So kind of a cold stretch there of those morning lows. We certainly see that for the Sierra with morning lows in the teens. Afternoon highs in the 30s and 40s. Dry for the foothills. Morning lows in the 40s. Those afternoon highs climbing into the 60s. We're going to track the opportunity for fog, though, throughout much of the valley, and that's going to keep our temperatures just a little bit on the cooler side. We're looking at fog potentially on Tuesday and a mix of sun and clouds as we head deeper into the forecast.
Well, from a California valley to an Arizona valley, we're going to check in on the forecast in Phoenix, where cool and breezy conditions are expected to be around as we head over the next few days, and even some high elevation snow could be possible. Let's get that forecast with meteorologist Ginger Jeffries.
I'm meteorologist Ginger Jeffries with a look at your weather out west, where, yeah, we've got fresh snow in the mountains. We had some powerful thunderstorms moving on through, and now it has all exited stage right, and we are going to deal with the cold air impact from that front that, yeah, rumbled through the region, literally. We're also talking about a lot of wind on the west side of the state because, remember, this guy has an engine to it, so it's going to be moving across the region. In the morning hours, we'll still get a little snow here and there, but it's going to clear out by midday, setting the stage for temperatures to be on the cooler side. I mean, Quartzsite, 58 degrees. Havasu, much of the same. We've got 32 today at the Grand Canyon. Below freezing in Flagstaff, enjoying some more man-made snow tonight, no doubt. Globe at about 46 on this Friday, 53 in Tucson, and here in Phoenix, I've got 60 degrees. All right, high wind advisory issued west side of the region. It's not going to be an all-day thing at all. In fact, after I'd say noon, 1 o'clock, it looks like these winds are going to be coming down, but my goodness, they're moving upwards to about 30 miles an hour, and then the winds are going to start to collapse under 15 miles an hour. The rest of us, we really shouldn't see much wind other than the higher elevations, and again, that's that tail edge of the front. As it pushes on through, something has to make it move. Well, that's a good old wind machine. The winds are also going to clear out the skies, which means it is going to be sunny, it is going to be gorgeous, it's going to be on the cool side as soon as we can squeeze a couple flurries out of the sky. Flagstaff so far seen over 6 inches of fresh snow. Nice big fat flakes coming down in the afternoon. Meantime, we didn't break records, but we picked up some decent rainfall by our desert standards. Now, again, a lot of it really staying on the east side of the metro, and a lot of it picking up after about 1 o'clock. This is our storm total, so not just 24 hours, but 48 hours. Almost a quarter of an inch of rain in Scottsdale, almost a half an inch in Fountain Hills, but not so much on the west side of the valley. Was surprised only getting about 8/100ths of an inch. So today, what we're concerned about, and even tomorrow, we've got temperatures that are going to be sub-freezing as a result. Freeze warning in place for all the areas you see here in purple. This is through this morning, and then again tonight into tomorrow morning. We also have that wind advisory that I mentioned. Even though we're going to get more widespread winds across the western side of the state, the advisory status, so the velocity and the duration for these strong wind speeds, really only going to be met around the Kingman area. And I'm talking about winds that may exceed about 30 miles an hour. So again, the wind is going to do its job. It's going to clear out the skies, allowing us to be on the cool side with highs at about 60 degrees, which, as you can see, well below the normal range. 67, where we typically are this time of the year. And I mean, really think about that. If we're getting up to 60, the bulk of our day is going to be spent in the upper 30s, 40s, and 50s. And by our desert standards, yeah, that's a little bit on the cooler side. So it's one of the, approximately 6 to 7 days out of the year where we get to wear a sweater. How about that? All right, Flagstaff, the snow is going to taper off this morning. But again, you're staying on the cool side with nice clear conditions. Those overnights very conducive to more snow-making conditions. Here in the valley, we are below the normal range today and tomorrow, but then, yep, we're getting back to the basics, 70s by Monday.
Tide pooling is a popular pastime in San Diego, but recent social media videos from the last king tide show crowds overwhelming these fragile areas and raising concerns about how marine life is being treated. San Diego's Brian White looks at who's watching over these tide pools and how the rules are being upheld.
King tides draw big crowds to tide pools here in La Jolla and other places, but not everyone follows the rules, so we're looking at who's responsible for protecting the marine life around here. During the last king tide, social media videos showed crowds packing into tide pools across San Diego County with people stepping on marine life and picking up sea creatures inside protected areas.
The tide pools are certainly a sensitive habitat, and there's a lot of small sea life in the tide pools that can be easily trampled.
Many of these tide pools fall within marine protected areas, places where it's illegal to injure, damage, take, or even temporarily handle sea life.
If people are collecting wildlife in those tide pools, even if they're just going to hold them for a little bit, it is a violation of that section, and they could be issued a citation for that.
Lieutenant Austin Smith with California Department of Fish and Wildlife is one of the officers patrolling San Diego's coastline. but there are only 8 wardens covering nearly 70 miles of coast. During the most recent king tide, they brought in extra help.
Our officers made over 300 contacts, issued over 25 warnings, and I think issued about 13 citations.
Fines can run around $500, and officers say education is just as important as enforcement.
All the creatures in and out of the water are like wildlife, and they're wild animals, and I think we just need to respect them, and we can admire them from afar.
The same message applies at La Jolla's children's pool. The beach is closed right now during harbor seal pupping season to protect mothers and newborns.
The best thing we can do is actually just leave them be, give them their space.
Later this year, during sea lion pupping season at Point La Jolla, a time we've repeatedly seen people get too close for selfies, the city tells me park rangers will staff the area daily to keep the public at a safe distance.
It's us that are kind of imposing on their territory and not the contrary.
Officials say when it comes to tide pools and marine mammals, the rule is simple: look, don't touch. If you see someone harassing wildlife or damaging tide pools, you can report it to Fish and Wildlife on the CalTIP hotline at 888-334-2258. I'm Brian White, CBS 8.
And that's going to do it for us here on Weather Out West. I'm meteorologist Adam Claybon. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you right back here on Monday.